Assalamualaikum to our respected lecturer, Sir Kamari Izam bin Mat'ai, and my fellow friends. We will present to all of you our project. My name is Syazwana binti JOHARI and my registration number is 01 DPA10203. Firstly, the financial summary is about a 24-year-old woman named Siti. Siti is a fresh graduate in diploma. She spent her 3 years studying as a full-time student and depends on her student loan with her monthly parents' allowance. Her monthly income is 1,500 ringgit. Besides the inflation issues, she still wanted to buy a brand new car and have too many expenses. Siti was influenced badly by her friends. At the end of the story, she has a lot of commitment, which caused a burden on her sister as a guarantor. Not only that, Siti got fired from his workplace. This summary is basically on real events. Next, KEERTHIKA will explain how these financial issues affect Siti emotionally.
Thank you, Syazwana. Hello, myself KEERTHIKA HARIHARAN and my matching number is 01DPM20F1004. Now, I'm going to explain a little about emotional issues of Siti who suffer with financial problems. In this case, Siti goes through 4 different emotional issues such as anxiety and depression, stress and tension, regret, and lastly, embarrassment. Not only in Siti's situation, I'm sure everyone who has financial crisis been go through these issues. Emotion is something that overwhelms with people's emotion reaction. When people experience financial stress or any kind of stress, it can lead to depression. Symptoms may begin slowly but soon worsen, especially if the financial situation worsens over time. When Siti is unable to pay her debts, she suffers from anxiety and depression. Next, stress and tension. Stress is defined as a state of emotional or physical stress. It can be triggered by any incident or idea that causes you to feel dissatisfied, furious or anxious, as well as regret is when Siti feels bad about her excessive behavior in unnecessary expenses. Lastly, embarrassment is when Siti feels embarrassed when she shares her financial problem with her colleagues. Now, I will pass this presentation to ADILA.
Thank you, Syazwana and KEERTHIKA, for the great explanation. Hi, my name is ADILA and I'm ZAINUL ABIDIN. Matter number is 01 DPM 20F1012. Here, I would like to provide the strength and weakness from the summary. As you can see on the slide, there are 4 strengths and 4 weaknesses. I will explain about strength first. Siti is very committed with her studies so that she doesn't want anything to disrupt her grade. Second, Siti knows how to budget her expenses. She has a monthly allowance from her parents which is only used for necessities like food, drink, textbook, and many more. Third, Siti realized her fault and went to the AKPK in order to get some financial advice regarding income flow, expenses, and her budget. Fourth, she listened to the advice and able to buy a car. Next, I would like to explain about her weaknesses. Siti don't have so much saving. Second, she is spending on her expenses was quite high like going vacation and etc. Third, she do not know how to save for her money. Fourth, she have high commitment to pay rental, necessity expenses, car payment, and etc. Also, payment late and affected her guarantor.
Thank you, ADILA. Let me give a short and sweet explanation about Siti's cash flow, which causes her financial problem. As you can see, Siti was deficit of 160 ringgit 83 cents because of her extra budget attitude. This is because she doesn't have a proper financial plan. Now, I will pass this presentation to ADILA.
Thank you, KEERTHIKA, for the explanation. Based on the 20% of her salary that she saved for her car, if there is an excess, he will keep the rest for future like investment on ASP. Based on medium-term planning, Siti can save 10% of the vehicle price, which is Rm 4,500 for down payment of his car for 1 year 5 months. if disciplined. From the calculation that I made, Siti monthly repayment for her car is Rm348 and interest rate that she need to pay is Rm9,571 ringgit. And the total amount paid for the vehicle is Rm37,556 with IR 7.1%. And based on the long-term saving planning calculation, we assume that Siti wants to save for 20 years. For the first investment, he can use Rm8,000 if got balance from her down payment. Even though she have financial crisis or so on, she still need to save at least 100 per month for her preparation for future if something bad happen or anything else. If we calculate total city saving after 20 years of accumulation is Rm54,458 ringgit and 12 cents if her financial situation are stable. She can feel free to add more amount of saving. Save more, earn more. In my suggestion, she can invest on ESP because dividend rate is escalate more and more per year. That's all from me. Now, let's move on to the next presenter.
Thank you, Adila. Now, we're going to talk about steps on how to improve Siti's financial plan. Step 1. In making a financial plan is to take a good look at her current situation. This means giving herself an overview of all her income and expenses, debts, investments, and so on. By the end of this review, she should have a clearer picture of how much she is spending versus how much her earnings are. Creating a financial plan without concrete goals leaves you unfocused, making it much harder to stick to. Secondly, the financial planning isn't most people's idea of fun, so Siti needs to make it worth her while, or she just won't stick to the plan. Goals alone aren't enough though. Siti also needs direction. Split her goals into short and long-term goals and come up with an actionable plan to reach them. Next, the third one is once the goals have been identified, the Siti should carefully select the ones that best fit her preferences in terms of risk, return, and liquidity. This can range from equities, money markets, or alternatives in real life estate and private equity. Then the fourth one is review her personal financial plan every year or so. Start at the first step to get a snapshot of how her finances are doing and make any necessary changes to the rest of her plan. Lastly, Siti may create her own financial plan. It's great that now we all understand the steps. I'll pass my presentation again to KEERTHIKA.
Thank you, Syazwana. For the last part of mine, let me share some recommended financial products that help Siti to overcome her financial crisis, such as bank accounts, insurance policies, and mutual funds. For bank accounts, I have suggested that she might use Certificate of Deposit, which is known as CD, and National Bank of Malaysia. A certificate of deposit is a financial instrument issued by banks and credit unions that pays an interest rate premium in exchange for the consumer agreeing to keep a lump sum deposit undisturbed for a set length of time, as well as National Bank of Malaysia helps to raise awareness of financial stability. In addition, for insurance policies, RHB Insurance Berhad helps to provide repayment aid and growth support. And lastly, money market fund is something that invests in ultra-liquid, short-term cash equivalent products, sometimes known as money market instruments. Next, I will pass this presentation to Syazwana.
On this slide, we have some additional information to include in our project assignment. We have 3 beneficial information. To begin, we have government benefits. This benefit can help Siti during her full-time student, where she can get student money from the government. Or maybe after her graduate, she could still get her benefit from the government by applying Bantuan Yayasan Perak and many more. The balance of her money will be her savings. Other than that, online business will match with Siti as she likes to focus one thing at a time, such as during her student life, she doesn't work because she's afraid it might affect her grades. This online business has a flexible time. Siti can work anytime and anywhere whenever she has the time. Last but not least, we have a part-time job. Maybe during her semester breaks, Siti could have take a part-time job. This side income will help Siti in building her savings. We have come to the end of the presentation. To conclude, there is a wise quote from a man called Warren Buffett. He said, asking a financial advice from a financial planner is like asking a barber if you need a haircut. What he means is you have to think for yourself what is the best for you. Be wise and save money. That's all from our group. Thank you for lending me your ears. Have a nice day.